I'm gonna do a test print for the brush marks of the sugar lift. So I'm gonna work with black ink. It's always preferable to work with black ink when we're testing our plates because it will tell us the right tonality. It's good to warm up the ink, so when you get it out, right now I'm not going to add any magnesium or any oil. I'm going to use it straightforward from the tube, and I'm just warming it up a little bit so that it changes the viscosity of the ink. It's nice and soft. It's not. When the weather is cold, the ink tends to go stiffer. When the weather is nice and warm, it becomes looser. It's because of the oils that it contains. So I like to place a piece of newspaper at the bottom to help keep everything nice and clean. I'm going to use this squeegee and I'm going to press down to apply the ink. Now, the ink needs to go all over the plate. So make sure you're putting ink all over the surface of the plate. And I am pressing down. You don't want to have too much of an excess of ink on the top surface, because what we do is remove the ink and just put it in the etched areas of the plate. So you work on it for a little bit, and then what I like to do is use another piece of newspaper on the top, flat, take the excess from the surface, remove that, and again use the tarlatan or the scrim to work on the surface of the image. So this is the tarlatan. I've actually got a clean one and a dirty one. When we're working with our tarlatan, you want to make a little nice small bowl that fits your hand. You want that surface not to be crinkled like that, but rather to be nice and flat on the front, just to keep it nice and even. I also like to hold my plate. So I put a piece of newspaper there, and I'm going to start in circular movement, removing the ink from the surface. So little by little. Now the pressure I'm making, it's a gentle pressure. When we're inking up plates, it's a process that needs to be done with love. We're not cleaning, there's not elbow grease cleaning part. So we do it slowly, we do it little by little, and it gets to a point where you have a nice and even. So I'm doing half and half. So if you see the plate, that area has not been cleaned, that has been cleaned with the first screen. I'm going to use the second screen, which is the cleaner one, and I'm going to work on that surface again gently. And I'm going to turn around the plate and work on the other side. So again, I use the dirty scrim. And then I use the clean scrim, again, flat surface, hold it in my hand, nice and even, same pressure. So this is what it looks like at the moment. So it's purely using a scrim or tarlatan. I'm not leaving any patina, which is like a veil of tone on the plate. I'm actually going to push it and try to clean the areas that haven't been etched so that they're perfectly white. I might leave an area so that you can see what it looks like when I extra clean with a piece of paper. Okay, so at this stage I'm going to move on to a clean surface, and I'm going to grab a piece of newspaper, and it has to be flat. And what I'm going to do is use my my hand to press on the areas that shouldn't have any ink, that we know that they need to be white. So I'm going to go around the areas to clean as much as I can. And on purpose, I'm going to leave an area without using the paper so you can see the difference once it's printed. And that area that I'm going to leave clean is that middle area there. I'm not going to clean it at all with the paper. I just used the tarlatan or the scrim to clean. I'm going to grab also a piece of fabric, and I'm just going to go around my edges to clean the filed bits, because I don't want those to be inked up or printed. The next stage is to get the paper out of water. So I'm getting the paper out of my water and I'm placing it on the plexiglass, and gently I'm going to squeeze out the water, and I'm going to put it between blotting paper to take the excess of the water so that it's not wet but rather damp. So I lift up these and place it in between the blotting paper, and then I'm going to use any roller. You'll find rollers here. I'm going to press nice and even, and you're going to repeat the process 3 times. Change the blotting paper. The paper should not be wet, should be damp. So that means that you shouldn't see any shiny bits on your paper. If there's any shininess, that means that the water's still in the surface of the paper. Stage is to place the paper on top of the plate so that the ink is side up, and then the paper goes down towards the image, and then we are going to place another piece of newsprint on top to protect the blankets from getting dirty, and then the blankets go down. So I'm going to remove the blankets, lift the newsprint up, and then lift from one corner the print. Okay, so it reveals the print. And what I want to show you here, what I think it's important to show, is that we've actually left it for 6 minutes, then 12, and then 24. So this is the darkest bit. Okay, now the difference between the 12 and the 24 is not so great. Now this is the first print. Usually you need to print the second print. Second or third print will be a better print, because this is the first time that the ink is going through and it's getting pressed. So we need to build up the ink to get the best print. But this is a good example of how to do a test print.